Hello, everybody. Letting you know that I tried a little bit of a new thing recently called streaming. Can you believe it? Yeah, it's very, very funny. I did try to do a stream a little bit about the populist left and the populist right's feud, and I kind of got a little bit sidetracked into that. But what I want to do is play a little bit, like just kind of explaining the beef between Nathan Robinson and Sagar and Jetty and Crystal Ball at Rising, because it kind of really demonstrates a big thing that the left is doing with right now is how do you work with the right? What capacity should the right work with? And in the stream, I'm not really figuring out, I'm kind of, you may be able to tell, I'm kind of struggling to apprehend the point, really, of working with the right wing here, because at least beyond passing kind of simple policy. For example, as I say in the stream, Mike Lee and Bernie Sanders in Yemen. Of course, there are some awkward Twitch stream parts, so sorry about that. But from here on out, we will be playing for you this new Twitch stream today. We are getting into it. It's the Spencer Walsh Radio Network on Twitch. If you want to go follow, want to go listen, if you like the show, please go check out Twitch. We will be incorporating it, I think, a lot more in the show in the future. As we're starting with today's show, going to be a little bit different as we kind of get into exploring longer topics, and maybe because I do like Twitch as a format. So, yeah, there are going to be some visual cues, none of which are really important, but it's part of listening to the podcast audience. If you really want to understand the full visual cues, if you want to be in on that kind of little joke that you have that you can only really get if you're watching the Twitch channel, we'll go to the Twitch channel and watch the Twitch stream. We will have streams quite frequently. I hope to get them out in a relatively frequent manner, but without further ado, we are going to do it. We're going to play for you this Twitch stream, and we will delve into that as well as some primaries talk on the other side of all this. We are doing today, and we're talking about a bunch of very, very interesting subjects. And we may go into one. I only have one planned, to be completely honest with you. But I do want to talk about what you see on the bottom. And it's actually the only one I have prepared a little graphic for. So we are going to be talking about it. It's a possibility of a new populist alliance in somewhere within the grand scheme of the Democratic Party and the left possibly allying with, and this could sound pretty crazy, the populist right on some issues where they may in fact align. And I really do in a long way question this, but there has been a big spat between some of the big prominent lefty commentators on Twitter. There is kind of the more friendly populist right school of thought, for example, Crystal Ball and Sagar and Jetty. Well, Sagar and Jetty is on the right. He is on what he would definitely consider himself a populist right-wing person. And they together host the Hill TV show, Rising, which has, is probably the best thing, but definitely is the best thing that Hill has going on right now. I do watch them quite a bit when they post they kind of post videos. I don't know how they really do that show. It's a little weird, but it's not really done. It's not like a live stream. It's just like they premiere videos one by one, but that's not really the point. Anyway, yeah, they, her and the commentator Crystal Ball, as a left-wing commentator, got into a feud with the, really got into a feud because Nathan Robinson, editor of Current Affairs, and by the way, my birthday was recent, and I got a Current Affairs, subscription. I got to get a Current Affairs subscription. My birthday was recent, and I got a Current Affairs. And I still haven't got the thing yet. It's really kind of pissing me off. I still have not gotten that thing yet, and I would like to get my magazine. I go to the mailbox every day to look for it, which is kind of sad. But I just got to get that. I got to get that Current Affairs. So yeah, Nathan J. Robinson. He is the founder of Current Affairs, and he is talking about what is going to be going on with the populist right. So, and I do want to take you through it. He is I mean, I like Nathan Robinson. I do relatively like Crystal Ball and Saiga and Jetty with Rising, although they do get into kind of some sus areas. Each person, like, it's kind of an interesting show because it kind of compromises everything and nothing at the same time. So they're supposed to go talking both sides of the aisle, but still staying on with their beliefs. But a lot of times they do kind of bend on their beliefs, as is natural, I think, when you're really with another human being. Like, if the instinct is to get along, the instinct is not always to disagree, and then it's just really uncomfortable for a lot of people. So if, for example, Crystal, who's a big Bernie supporter, is going to go on a big rant about Bernie Sanders, guess what's going to happen? Like, you're going to see a big Saiga and Jetty, like, even, and really kind of when she says blatantly left-wing things, Saiga and Jetty is going to just be like, yeah, I kind of agree. And then when Sagar says some pretty, like, questionable things about, like, Tucker Carlson's, like, the voice that we need for the future. Like, I mean, she kind of goes maybe a little bit too much than I think that she would normally be inclined to go when it comes to Tucker Carlson, just normally on the day-to-day basis. And I do want to find this. Let's see. Yeah, current affairs. We're going to get into this article in just a minute, but it is very interesting to have this kind of debate. And what Nathan Robinson is making, he's been on their show multiple times, and to confront them like this in a real article takes a great, like, I'm respectful of that, because I think that takes, like, you're being honest, you're being very, very honest here. Like, you have a very interesting dynamic. So, and this is a very, very long piece. Oh, I don't know if I can read all this, but we'll try and go through it. I read it all, but actually, you know what I think we can do is we can highlight it, and this is the best part. We can cheat for a little bit, and then, because I do have the reader through software, because I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I know ADHD is super overdiagnosed, but I mean, my attention span is just, in these days, these teenage years that I'm in, it's already just going down.
Recently wrote about a book called The Populist's Guide to 2020 by Crystal Ball and Saiga and Jetty, who co-host The Hill's show Rising. The book's premise is that today there is a rising kind of left populism and a rising right populism, and that these can be described as part of one tendency and share a single idea, namely that American families, workers, and communities which built this country still matter, they deserve a voice, and they are the future. There is a populist movement, they write, as seen in working-class uprisings across the globe, from Donald Trump's election to Bernie Sanders' campaign. Reading the book, I found the idea of left populism and right populism being a unified working-class politics to be deeply troubling. After all, once you get past abstractions like families or the future, what is right populism? Who are the right-wing populists? Well, they tend to be authoritarian nationalists who say the word workers a lot but are actually deeply xenophobic and militaristic. Are Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders part of the same movement? Centrists have often claimed this. Are they right? I don't believe so. I don't think there is a mere policy difference between the right and the left, and I utterly reject Ball and Engetti's thesis that these two groups are aligned. Ball and Engetti responded to me forcefully on their show Rising, with Ball delivering a biting monologue. I'd like to address their criticisms because I think they misunderstand the arguments I am making, and that this misunderstanding is quite common when people talk about how the left should engage with the right, and what the differences are between left populism and right populism.
So I kind of apologize because I wasn't able to kind of like show you the thing that kind of shows you the text, and I was trying to get that to pop up on the screen, but I do have a little widget on here that allows you to see the text a lot better as it goes by, but that is not, unfortunately, not showing up. So I didn't want to really, I was trying to, like, not really paying attention to what the article was saying. I think mistakenly what I did here is I clicked on the wrong article, which was a response to, okay, so this is a 3-part kind of diagram, a 3-part narrative that goes back and forth and back and forth. And we could go through a lot of this stuff, but pretty much what happened is, and I guess we can go back to the original article. Let's see. Isn't right-wing populism just fascism? So she said, it's a bad idea to listen to right-wingers who claim to be on the side of the people. Usually it turns out they want to crush the people by force. Let us ask a question. Who are some famous right-wing populists? Well, let's see. Historically, Hitler and Mussolini can be categorized as right-wing populists. It's true. Today, there's Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, a militaristic, sexist homophobe who said if he saw two men kissing in the street, he would beat them. There's Marine Le Pen in France, the most progressive Islamization of our country, and the increase in the progressive, who says the quote, the progressive Islamization of our country and the increase in political religious demands are calling into question the survival of our civilization. There's Geert Wilders in Netherlands. Islam is not a religion. It is not ideology. It is the ideology of a retarded culture. Plus Viktor Orban in Hungary. And the United States, there's, of course, Donald Trump, whose administration has engaged ceaselessly in ceaseless cruelty toward immigrants, who is currently trying to deploy the military against protesters. Like, those are the people who kind of be considered right-wing populists, and the most successful way that they appeal to them, it's not like through some, like, deep brand of economic populism and cultural conservatism. It's not. Like, that stuff just does not exist. Like, who is doing that? It is through racism and xenophobia and dog whistling and really fascism. It's fearing and otherizing people until you are kind of in the, like, you got a big problem on your hands. It's really what's going on. Like, that is, I think, probably the most present, like the most clear thing that we see throughout this ideology. And I think I do kind of want to put the the reader back on now. I'll try to keep up for you guys. But so let's see. It is very interesting because all of which is to say, right-wing populism seems like a terrible ideology that needs to be rejected. Let's start that
All
up.
of which is to say, right-wing populism seems like a terrible ideology that needs to be rejected. I disagree with nearly everything these people believe in.
And again, this is the big thing. Who are these people? I don't know who these people are that say we have right-wing populism. What is going on in the chat right now? Oh my, I'm looking at that. What is going on? That just completely distracted me. I don't even know who these people are. Actually, I think I know one of them is, but oh, I'm looking at my phone now, and it's hitting me. It's hitting me. I see. Okay, that is like, all right. Yeah, but we're just gonna go right back into this, but. I disagree with nearly everything these people believe in. The kind of world they believe in is not one I wish to inhabit. They're in favor of reactionary cultural traditions, militarized borders, bigotry, and rabid nationalism. I'm a leftist, meaning that I favor the free movement of people and multiculturalism. I'm anti-nationalist and anti-militarist. Donald Trump's ideology seems to me to be monstrous. And like, again, like who's the, like his Singer and Jenny on his show does not always disagree with Trump. Like, that is just, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't buy it. So here's the rest of the article. We can go in a little bit and actually say, not be distracted by some of what I'm seeing here. But, all right, let's just go
through. The kind of world they believe in is not one I wish to inhabit. They are in favor of reactionary cultural traditions, militarized borders, bigotry, and rabid nationalism. I am a leftist, meaning that I favor free movement of people and multiculturalism. I am anti-nationalist and anti-militarist. Donald Trump's ideology seems to me to be monstrous. I find it peculiar, then, to hear right populism and left populism discussed as part of the same tendency. Usually when this is done, it is by centrists, who subscribe to the horseshoe theory, that fascism and socialism have a lot in common. The idea is that the political spectrum, instead of a line, is horseshoe-shaped. Meaning that the ends come together. This is what led the Center for American Progress and the American Enterprise Institute, a progressive and free market think tank, respectively, to collaborate on a project about combating authoritarian populism from both the right and left. Their idea is that Donald Trump, Hugo Chavez, Bernie Sanders, Jair Bolsonaro, etc. can all be understood as part of the same tendency, because they all seek to overthrow elites and the establishment in the name of the people and use the power of the state to create justice. But this idea is fundamentally wrong, because it fails to acknowledge the massive difference between the left and the right. Namely, that the right's brand of populism is a complete and utter swindle that involves scapegoating foreigners for